you seen these altered estimates in other disasters?
Yes, we have.
Doug Quinn founded the nonprofit American Policyholder Association after his home was destroyed in Superstorm Sandy.
These are people that did the right thing. They put a safety net in place in case something like this happens. And when that safety net fails them, what they go through is devastating. This is something that people need to be in handcuffs and have criminal charges for.
Dropped policies, payouts illegally slashed in half. Some insurance companies are facing a criminal investigation by the state.
These bold moves by insurers are leaving homeowners paying the bulk of their repairs on their own or paying skyrocketing rates for coverage if they can even get it. Today, an insurance industry watchdog tells NBC2's Dave Elias it has evidence that insurance adjusters' claims were altered.
Well, some home insurance companies have been altering home repair estimates as much as 50, even 97%. Now, that means homeowners are stuck paying for a majority of the repairs.
Arrest and the threat of criminal prosecution, that becomes a deterrent.
Doug Quinn is founder of the insurance watchdog group, the American Policyholder Association. He says prosecuting insurance executives and their agents must be followed through by the state for any of these laws to have real teeth.
And we're certainly hoping that Florida authorities take heed of that and actually defend the Florida citizens by enforcing laws.
Have a hedge fund that is anchored offshore. They may even be domestic, but they'll own a holding company. And the holding company now owns 7, 8, or 10 different companies. One of them is the insurance company.
The insurance company makes money, then it pays the sister companies, which may be a mix of administrators, adjusting firms, reinsurance firms, and/or restoration companies, moving money from the insurance business where there are caps on profits, strict regulations, and risk of claims loss, to its sister companies where there are not.
And listen, it's all good as long as you're honoring your policies.
But we've seen how a company like Sunshine Insurance paid its subsidiaries for duplicate services, made verbal rather than written agreements, and paid advances, in the end paying out millions to affiliates as the insurance company ran out of money in 2014.
Their subsidiaries were invoicing them for services at multiple market rates, or in some cases that services that were not even performed, and it was just a way to drain money out of the insurance company.
Sunshine also paid its chief executive a $200,000 bonus months before it crashed, which leads to the third problem Quinn cited of large executive payouts as some companies fail. That's based on this state audit that tied Sunshine's collapse to questionable payments to affiliates. Here's one on another failed insurer, FCIC. This one states officers appear to have been stripping the company of cash. Here's one on HomeWise Insurance. It states the heavy flow of cash to its parent company contributed to its demise in 2011. We could cite others, but you get the idea.
And I'll tell you one thing, we are not anti-insurance. I was a financial advisor for 30 years. I recommended tens of millions of dollars of insurance to my clients because it is an important risk management tool that the average American uses to defend themselves from a loss that otherwise would be catastrophic. We need healthy, resilient insurance markets.
Yes, my name is Morgan Walker. I am the project coordinator for the American Policyholders Association. The American Policyholders Association is a 501c4 nonprofit. Our main mission focus is to educate consumers about insurer fraud.
When they have a loss, they're entitled to an honest claim.
Doug Quinn is the executive director of the American Policyholder Association.
The only organization in the United States that focuses on prosecuting criminal fraud perpetrated by the insurance industry.
Confirming it's happening here.
Major insurer here in Florida were telling their adjusters not to pay these claims.
The matter has now been turned over to authorities.
I think the big issue is they're either using inexperienced adjusters, or in some cases they have experienced adjusters who are getting marching orders to deny claims.
FEMA and the NFIP's lack of oversight, negligent lack of oversight of the Write Your Own insurance companies and the law firms that they hired, like Nielsen and Trees, The engineering firms they hired, like US Forensic, who was caught red-handed changing survivors' reports to say that no damage was done. For Wright Flood Insurance Company, whose vice president of claims stood up in court and when asked if he participated in committing fraud against consumers, took the Fifth Amendment.
So we are a nonprofit that fights insurer fraud. So when the insurance company doesn't want to pay, we see it all the time. They delay, deny, defend, and we're here to actually prosecute.
Okay, well, this is a lot to take in, okay? Nonprofit, but you say prosecute. How does that work? What do you mean?
So we have a consumer protection unit. So their goal is to actually, when we get fraud reported to us, they take the case, they tie it up in a pretty pink bow, and they bring it right to the Attorney General of that state.
Fox 4 Investigates pulled every complaint sent to the state's chief financial officer, Jimmy Petronas, about insurance companies since Ian hit. Nearly 8,000 of them in all. More than 2,500 of those complaints were about how the insurance company handled their claim. But Doug Quinn of the American Policyholders Association says that number is likely low.
Most people don't know you can file a complaint with the insurance department. Most people don't know how you would do that, even if you wanted to.
But Quinn, who advocates for insurance customers, says this is only part of the problem. In May, the Florida Office of Insurance Regulation started investigating how insurance companies were handling Ian-related claims, including allegations of companies changing a field adjuster's reports.
I've personally witnessed the evidence that these claims were changed dramatically. It looks very clear as though a crime has been committed, and we're just waiting for Florida authorities to wrap up their investigation. And
state officials didn't respond to Fox 4 Investigates when we asked about the status of those investigations. Quinn says your best bet as a consumer is to keep fighting back.
Don't just accept what they're telling you. You know, you've paid your premiums 100 cents on the dollar. You certainly deserve to have your claims paid 100 cents on the dollar. And listen, the process of a civil lawsuit, it's a great process. It's a way that an average American can get justice.
Right.
But people are caught committing fraud in civil suits, and the insurance company just comes in and settles, and everybody signs a non-disclosure.
Write a check.
They don't have to talk about it. Nobody loses their job. Nobody goes to jail, and it's basically set so that they're in place to commit the same crime again tomorrow.
I also asked the American Policyholder Association's executive director, Doug Quinn, for his advice.
It never hurts to get a consultation with a professional, such as a public adjuster or an attorney.
An insurance industry watchdog claiming that companies have been altering repair estimates made by licensed adjusters.
This is something that people need to be in handcuffs and have criminal charges for. Our biggest concern are fraudulent claims practices by carriers in order to short pay Florida consumers. Even prior to Hurricane Ian, we had an issue where the OIR had received 95,000 complaints going back to 2016 about Florida insurers' claims paying practices. We would like to see that addressed. One of the things I will tell you is all of your audience needs to understand that when an engineer is sent out to a property, you are now officially in dispute. The insurance company is not spending their money to hire an engineer to go out and get Mr. or Mrs. property owner more money. It is a claims denial instrument in many cases. I will have people tell me, so-and-so from, this engineering company came out and I knew that roof was denied before he put his shoes on that morning, much less before he stepped foot on the roof, because it was a pre-filled out report. So it's very important that you record all inspections. Let's not kid ourselves. When they send an engineer out, you're officially in dispute. They may not be telling you that, but there's a reason for it, and you need to be there with them, and you need to record, even if it's as simple as having a body cam, so you can see how much time did they spend on each roof, how much observations did they do the pictures that they're submitting, do they match the actual damage on the roof? Because we've heard reports of, people actually standing on top of damage and shooting pictures all around, or actual damage being in the original report, but by the time it gets through with peer review and it gets released to the insurance company, those pictures have been eliminated.
States, based on a review of its history and practices, the cause of Sawgrass's insolvency appears to stem from mismanagement and a lack of funds.
One of the things I'm very concerned about is this company had no financial exams from the state of Florida since 2011. And I'm wondering if maybe more effective oversight, I'm actually confident that more effective oversight would have helped to avoid this disaster.
Well, that would suggest the problem might not relate to lawsuits as much as lapses in state leadership, which in different ways we've seen a time or two before in years past.
Finally, he offers this advice to homeowners.
Many times they need to advocate for themselves or have a professional advocate for them in order to get an honest claim paid from their insurance company.